Hi Gemini, happy early birthday and welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your mid-May 2023 love reading. Thank you to those of you who liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, it's what I call the bridge and the gap spread. And the way it works is we look at the past, present, and future energies between you and your main love interest. Once we get through all that, we'll pull some oracle cards as well for some additional insight, and that's where the bridge and the gap dynamic comes into play. And as far as the decks being used, on the left side we have the Lover's Path Tarot, on the right side we have the Romantic Tarot. And also keep in mind it's a general reading, so I'm going to be referring to the cards on the left as your energy and the cards on the right as the other person's. If you feel like it's the way around in your situation, then definitely trust that. Alright, so with all that out of the way, we'll get started. Past energy on your side. We have the Four of Staves and Desire. So this is the equivalent of the Chariot in traditional tarot. And this is Aries energy here. So what I'm seeing with this could just be saying that you definitely saw the potential for this connection to go the distance. You might have really just felt like a strong pull toward this person. It might have felt like the connection was faded in some way between the two of you. Alright, past energy on their side. We have the King of Swords and the Six of Swords. So technically these are both Aquarius energies here. But what stands out to me here is we see that the actual sword that he's holding is broken, right? So it could just be saying that they might have had a bit of an issue with the way they communicated. So maybe what they want to say versus what would actually come out of their mouths, there could have been like a gap there, right? So it could just be one of those things where they might have been feeling misunderstood. But with the Six of Swords here, I feel like this is saying that after the fact, they probably did try to restore the balance. So yeah, it feels like it's just one of those things where I could see this person might just communicate, but at the same time not necessarily see how they come across clearly through their communication. So I don't feel like there was necessarily any nefarious intent between it, but it could just, behind it rather, but it could have just been one of those things where there was miscommunication between the two of you, and then they might have tried to fix it after the fact. Alright, present energy on your side, we have contemplation and grace. So this is the equivalent of the Hermit card and the Star card. So Virgo and Aquarius energy here. So this is saying that there could actually be separation between the two of you right now, but you might actually be thinking about this person and possibly reconnecting with this person at this time. So that puts that King of Swords energy in a slightly different context, which is to say that, let's say, for example, you expressed your feelings to this person, right, and they might have, even if they did have those feelings reciprocated toward you, as far as them communicating that, could have just gone completely off the rails. So this actually could have caused a separation between the two of you in the past. All right, present energy on their side. We have the Four of Wands, the Knight of Wands, and the Devil. So interesting mixture of energies here. Well, I mean, you guys had the Four of Wands in the past, they have it in the present, right? So it could just be saying that now they might be rushing in to express that, hey, actually I do see the same potential in the connection that you do, right? So like I said, in the past, they might have stumbled with the communication to let you know that. But with the Devil card here as well, could this be saying that, there might be a less than ideal reason behind it from their part, So, for example, maybe they're doing it for attention, things along those lines. So, I don't necessarily feel like it's all bad, but it does feel like their intent behind it isn't fully pure. Basically, that's the best way I could say it, so now they could come back in and tell you, hey, yeah, I want all of the things that you said you wanted in the past, but, we just have to figure out what their motive is behind that. All right, future energy on your side, we have the Five of Staves. So this is a Leo energy here, and usually this points to an energy of competition. The artwork in this deck always stands out to me that it seems a little bit more playful than it does in some decks. Like if you look at their facial expressions, we see some smiles there, right? But at the same time, it could just be one of those things. Like if we look at the feminine energy in the card, she doesn't necessarily seem as happy as the two masculine energies in there. So it could just be one of those things where you might say something that to you is just coming across like a joke, but it might actually strike a nerve with this person. So yeah, it could just be one of those things where this person could be a little sensitive, but struggle with communicating around those things. So you just have to look out for that as far as if you say something to this person that you this might be a joke, right? But if it touches on a nerve with them from something they might have gone through in the past, like let's say if you even so let's say there was miscommunication between the two of you. Now they come in the present and say, hey, I really wanted those things too. And let's just say in the future you tease them about that, right? But if they're already sensitive about how they're perceived with communication, then that could really, strike a blow to them that you might not be intending. All right, and future energy on their side, we have the Death card. So yeah, Scorpio energy here, and basically that's kind of what I was seeing here, where I was talking about with that 5 of Spades energy, which on your end you might have innocent intention behind it, but this person, like I said, especially if it's mentioning something from the past that they were already sensitive about, they could really, take it harder than you intended it to be. Because if we look at the artwork here, we see for one, her back is turned to the cards on that side, and then obviously doesn't look like she's happy to be going through that experience, right? So it could just be one of those things. And as I'm saying this reminds me of the fact that we're just wrapping up Mercury retrograde, so it's still going to be in post shadow period for the rest of the month for the most part. But that's kind of what that makes me think of there, where a miscommunication that wasn't meant to be a big deal becomes a big deal. And to be fair, it looks like they might have had that happen to them on the past too. So it could just be one of those things where you guys might have to get on the same page with communicating. All right. Bottom of the deck on your side, we have the Ace of Spades. So yeah, this is an indicator of kind of what I was picking up on the present there, where like I said, there might actually have been a bit of a separation between the two of you, but now in the present, you might actually feel a spark that makes you want to initiate the connection again. All right, and bottom of the deck on their side, we have the Magician. So what stands out to me here is we're talking about how they have the broken sword in the past, right? Which to me says that, there might have been issues with the way they communicated, or at the very least, how that communication was received. So what stands out to me with this Magician card is the way they're actually pulling that sword out of the hat, right? So to me, this could just be saying that they've been working on their communication, right? And then we also see the shadow in the background there. So to me, this could just be saying that they came to that realization that, okay, yeah, there's some kind of issue with how they're perceived through their communication. So I feel like this is saying that they're actually working on that, right? They might realize that, okay, yeah, maybe that's a bit of a shadow for me where, so maybe they might say things, but they don't necessarily mean for them to come across that way, but it's almost like subconscious for them. So to me, this says that they could be working through that. So if you open up that old wound for them, right, like unintentionally not understanding how it would strike a nerve with them, it could just be one of those things that could backfire. So hope that resonated. But yeah, let's move on to the Oracle cards. Let's see what we get from Aqua Moonlight deck here. I'm going to be looking for unspoken messages from you to them and from them to you. So let's see what comes up. Oh, got one there. Next, we see what we get from them to you. Got one there. All right, so first we'll see what we got on your side. Okay, we have taken. I'm unavailable. So interesting message there, because in the past it definitely looks like you wanted to get things off the ground with this person. Now, like I said, in the present it looks like you actually are contemplating reigniting things with them. But okay, so here's one way I can see this playing out actually. Because like I said, it looks like in the present they're going to come forward and say to you, hey, those things you mentioned you wanted in the past, now I want those things, right? So this could be playing off of what's going on with the 5 of Spades there, where you might actually tell them that, right? But you might not actually be in another connection, but you might kind of say that to them just to give them a bit of a hard time, but then they might really take that very seriously and think, oh, okay, Gemini's with someone else. I guess my chance is gone, right? So just be on the lookout for that if you're not actually in another connection. But if you try to give them the impression you are, just to kind of, get back at them for the past, that could definitely backfire. So just wanted to mention that. And on their side, we have time. All right, we can get it to focus. There we go. It says, I know the clock is ticking for us. Won't you wait for me? So yeah, interesting message there because again, like I said, I do feel like they came to that realization in the past, right? I mean, it's kind of undeniable if someone were to see that, like, okay, yeah, clearly that sword is broken, right? So I feel like this is one of those things where something was brought to light for them as far as their communication goes. And like I said, I feel like they've been working on that. That to me is what this magician card points to. Like we said, we see them actually repairing the communication issue. Um, but I feel like this is saying that it might have been taking them a while to get to that point, right? So, um, and like I said, yeah, it just looks like one of those things where you just have to be on the lookout. I feel like they are putting in genuine work there. We did mention the devil card where something seemed like it could be a little off there, but one way I could see that could just be saying that they might not fully be ready yet. So that's really, now that I'm seeing this thing in its entirety, that's most likely what that devil would point to, which is to say that, okay, they might tell you that they're not ready for what you're ready for, right? And then they might fear that they're going to lose you. So then they rush in and say, yeah, one of those things too, even though they're still in the middle of their healing process. So that to me is what that could be pointing to, saying that, hey, they might have an awareness that this is going to take them a while to work through that issue, but they might also fear that they're going to lose you. So they might rush in before they're fully healed to try to avoid that. So, but let's see what the wisdom of the oracle adds to the mix. Just looking for one card here. We'll read the relationship message for that and wrap the reading up. Got one there. All right, let's see what you got. Okay, we have Imagine. There's the artwork, and the number is 20. All right, let's see what this has to say. Okay, the relationship message says, in matters of the heart, it's easy to daydream about another as a means of connecting to that person. While that's romantic, if you want this relationship to be real, you need to go for it, not just dream about it. Now is the time to move beyond the daydream and into reality, beyond illusion and into fruition. Relationships are about relating, so step out onto the dance floor where imagination partners with manifestation. The message of this card is that a person with attributes you have imagined will enter your life. You'll be changed for the better. Imagine that. So yeah, an interesting message there for those of you. If you resonated more with the energy on the right, I could see where that could fit. And then also the daydreaming part I was talking about makes me think of the hermit energy we see in the present, or contemplation as it's called in this deck. But yeah, like I said, it looks like there could be some sensitivity there where, especially if you know that this person does have some kind of communication issue, right, that they've needed to work on. It looks like they are genuinely putting that work in. But again, if you like mention something about that, even if you're joking around, it could just open up an old wound for them and they might take it a bit more seriously than intended. So just something to look out for there. But I hope it resonated for you guys. Once again, happy early birthday, and I'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.